Watu watutam as if tutakula kiwanja. Everything William Ruto does, Talanta Stadium. Everything anasema Talanta Stadium. Kenyans, today I'm going to explain for you in a very simple term what is happening with our stadium, or what we can call the talent for corruption stadium. Wakenya, up here, this is Abdullahi Wade or Abdullahi Wade National Stadium. It's the home for Teranga Lions, or the home of African champions, Senegalese football team. How much did it cost? $380 million, inclusive of interest and everything, which was built by the Turkish firm called Suma at the per annum interest rate of 5%. Ours, I can fully clarify what the MP for Kiharu Ndidi Nyoro said, that Talanta Stadium will cost a whooping 115 billion Kenya shillings. Kenyans, Abdullahi Wade Stadium is a 50,000-seater stadium. Talanta Stadium is 60,000-seater stadium. The Senegalese government approached the Turkish government and they triggered what we call Islamic Cooperation for International Investments and Export Credit. They got a very generous offer to borrow the money and to also pay back the same amount they are going to build for this stadium by 2035 at the per annum interest rate of 5%. Let us come to the Kenyan government. William Ruto or Anaconda regime, they never had a budget. So they floated what we call infrastructure bond in the Nairobi Stock Exchange to the private investors, namely the County Pension Fund, Kenya Commercial Bank, that is Tier 1, without forgetting the national insurance companies. We were not able to access the listing of these people who bought the shares from the bond we call infrastructure bond because they adopt what we call restrictive market listing. Hawatoi majina ya watu. So unlike bullet bond ya Abdullahi Wade Stadium, which I've told you earlier, they are going to use the traditional financing system. You pay by the interest rate, and then at the end of it you pay the principal amount. But this one for Kenya is what we call infrastructure asset backed security, IABS. So this is how it works. First of all, the Kenyan government has already raised the 47 billion. This money, once it has been raised, will be given to Chinese Road Bridge Corporation, that is CRBC, which is the contractor, and Kenya Defense Force at the rate of 3.8 billion Kenya shillings twice a year. Every January 8 and every year July 8 twice. And then the other money that is going now to pay back the investors who bought the fund, who bought the bond, which will mature by 2040, is divided into 30 installments. 30. And this is how it goes. The money for Talanta Stadium will be generated from betting, that is sports betting and national lottery, and what we call sins tax. Wale watu wanavuta sigara, pombe, vinywaji, wines and spirit. Literally what I'm telling you, Kenyans, if Kenyans leo waamue wasivute sigara, wasigambo, wasikwe na lottery, the creditor, that is the originator of the bond, the Lindsay Finco 003, will default, which will put the pension and the savings of millions of Kenyans under the county pension fund into default, into hasara kubwa sana. We are going ahead, Kenyans. When we break down this analogy, the interest rate for Abdullahi Wade National Stadium is 5% per annum. The interest rate for the bond that the Kenyan government created for the Talanta Stadium is a whooping 15.04%, which will be paid until July 2040. The problem is not even the model. It's a bit very similar. Sitaki kutumia stadium ya wazungu. The problem here is the finance model. This stadium that I've told you, Kenyans, it can give you value for money today. You can build F&B Stadium, which cost the South African government $440 million, inclusive of inflation. Leo tukifanya hiyo pesa, it's standing at around $867 million, and the Kenyan one is $850 million. So a Kenya ningependa kuambia, with the budget of 115 billion, you will fully get an F&B Stadium, or famously called Soccer City, which hosted 2010 South African World Cup between Netherlands and Spain. Or basically, you can get 3 Abdullahi Wade's Stadium. Kenyans, I really want to tell you something here. Why did William Ruto opt, if not with the infatuation of giving us a white elephant, for a project that is going to cost us 115 billion? That is confirmed because of the interest rate and everything. And we shall pay these until 2040. And finally, nikimalizia Kenyans, there is a bigger problem we are going to have with this. This is private debt. This is a debt that is going to be financed under the Sports, Arts and Social Development Fund. The problem with Sports Fund organization, its mandate is going to end in 2028. We don't know if the National Assembly, the toothless bulldog, are going to extend the mandate. This is the problem that we are having as far as this is concerned, Kenyans. Ile stadium ya national team ya Senegal, they have a system which we call Player Export International System. Senegalese team, they export their talent. And already they are hosting CAF and FIFA matches from the countries that doesn't have the facility. I'm telling you, look at our Kenyan Premier League that relies on sponsorship fund from SportPesa at the tune of 1.2 billion Kenya shillings. They are saying they are going only to rely on football matches. I don't know where we are going to generate the money to pay back this amount. While I can tell you, for Senegal, already the money is flowing in. So Kenyans, munafaa kuelewa hii. Hii stadium, hii budget ya Talanta yawapea FNB stadium. Mwende South Africa muangalie FNB. Wale watu waliwatch 2010 World Cup. I can tell you the reality. So this is the finance model that William Ruto took. While a country which actually has 132% of its GDP is debt, that is Senegal, he is giving a very nice model, that is the stadium. And the Kenyan one, we opted to use contractors like Chinese Road Bridges Corporation, which already exists in Kenya. So even if we are going to include inflation, logistics, and the last mile approach, still I don't feel this stadium is as expensive as it is. Wakenya, I'm telling you. Meanwhile, Mungu awabariki sana na Wakenya mumakinike.